All right, everybody. So this is my first time using StreamYard, so you'll forgive me if I am not technically sound or if any of this isn't polished. But yeah, so my usual update of talking about art and things of that nature might be a little bit different, a little bit skewed with in light of things that are going on. But these are also things that are very near and dear to me. And if you've followed my work at all, my serious work, you'll know that I put a lot of these type of concepts within my art, within my paintings, and within my comics. So I am currently having a hard time breathing. Asthma's flaring up, allergies, pollen in the air. So, but with that being said, I'm still here trying to go ahead and maybe get some things off my chest. And while I might be short of breath, I'm still lucky. I'm lucky enough to be able to air out some of my feelings, my emotions, and grievances, and to be able to get things off my chest. Others that are, of my culture are not so lucky to be here to be able to do that. They weren't able to. They weren't allowed to breathe. They weren't allowed to continue to breathe. And so I've been given, a chance to use my platform to maybe, I don't know, clear the air about some things, just from my point of view. I don't speak for anyone else. I just speak for myself, and I speak for my own lens and my own perspective. So, and I don't even speak that well. I'm aware of that. I don't speak that well, as in the sense that it's hard to get things out to communicate what I'm trying to say and express it. And I ramble a lot. Um, some of you know this, but yeah. And then as far as so dealing with allergies, dealing with trying to get a full breath of air, but still here, and my eyes might be watery and moist, but that's because of the pollen and all that. It gets a little confusing though when it comes to being misty eyed and having this my vision obstructed by blurriness, because there's a lot of emotion in the past couple months, dealing with how COVID is done. And some of that emotion blurriness is a lot of it is pollen and allergies. Some of it was like the fifth season of Shira, because I really love Shira. I mean, yeah, that show really gets me emotional. But that aside, and then a lot of it is just constantly having to witness and share articles, share footage, see footage from friends, share it to friends and family, and try to interpret what is going on with the way people of color, Black people, and all marginalized groups are treated, and the response from elected officials, law enforcement, and people with privilege, and how they respond, and how they continue to treat us 400 years later, even though our ancestors were responsible for building this country. You know, part of my ancestors being Native American. I'm Black, Native American, Filipino, and then German, Hungarian. But part of my ancestors were already here, and well, we already know how colonization works, and it's continues to be a colonization of civilians, of this, of civil disobedience, even that. I It's overwhelming how much video is out there and how much there is that is just so wrong, and then there's still people who will obfuscate what is clearly in front of them and being portrayed as, well, those people were thugs or they shouldn't have been out there. I mean, come on, really? But just a couple weeks ago, you've got um, white supremacist militia armed to the teeth yelling in these cops' faces, possibly infecting them with the virus, and no retaliation from the cops. Um, just sat there and took it, but let somebody sitting in a lotus position on the side of a sidewalk, not doing anything, just there, and some of these cops are feeling like it's okay just to walk by and mace them or pepper spray them. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with all the police tactics and what they do. I try to stay away from police, just even if I'm not doing anything wrong. I have a natural ingrained fear of law enforcement and police, profiled so often that just trying to get from point A to point B to walk home, or to catch the bus to go to work, or just drive to work. Have to worry about getting pulled over, and then I fit the description. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that look like me out there, apparently. So um, yeah. Let me take a swig of coffee because, like I said, I'm all messed up. But I'm rambling, and when I had pictures in my head was going to be a little bit more fluid because I was going to talk more about from the artist's point of view, the artist angle, as far as like I would like to have a call to arms of art advocacy and art activism, especially in my medium of choice, which is comics, sequential art, which is like my major passion and my major love, because comics are so functional at getting words and pictures and the symmetry of those out to communicate our thoughts. Well, I just had a superhero cup right here because I grew up loving superheroes. Fourth generation comic book fan. I grew up loving superheroes and having that idealized thing of what a warrior, a noble person would be to defend someone. Obviously, I've matured since then and seen the reality of you know, seeing the reality of what so my priorities have changed, and my interests have changed when it comes to comics and literature. Um, Being a mixed race, I've often found myself in between groups or outside of groups, but yet also still prone to the same prejudice and same insecurities and the same PTSD. Like whenever one of us sees a person, like as a human, in most cases, if you've got any compassion or empathy, you already know what it's like to see something that someone get hurt, um, in the wrong circumstances. I'm not talking about like a skateboard bail when the guy hits his nuts on the rail and slides. Come on, I mean that's kind of funny, just for a moment because the pain will pass. But I mean, I'm not talking about America's funniest home videos. I'm talking about like when somebody is being beaten down and somebody is um killed, somebody is harassed. I mean, it's in all these marginalized groups that have to worry and watch their back. But black people and people of color have been having to do it for a very, very long time. As I said, they built this country, and anyone brings up reparations, and people get their feathers ruffled, pearl clutching. Anyone brings up, hey, let's just get a place at the table, then people freak out. People have a problem with that. As far as art and advocacy, if I'm going to speak from my own personal point of view, I when I started painting, fell in love with painting, and started exploring it more with acrylic paints. I found that on top of wanting to marry comic and sequential arts to my painting at a large scale with sequential panels, and on top of loving Kandinsky, Rothko, Van Gogh, and the masters, and wanting to interpret those type of mediums and techniques, but through a black person's point of view, or or through speaking about social issues and everything like that. I fell in love with that, and I felt like it was still storytelling, like I was taking my comics to that other medium because I always was. I work with art and comics with the chip on my shoulder. Those of you that know me know I have a very, very big chip on my shoulder. I'm very sensitive, so if I'm not including something, you're probably going to hear from me, and I tend to just be very passionate before I have common sense. So I mean, I do lash out, and I just react. And I think a lot of that also comes from just PTSD and having issues where you're constantly feeling like you're on the defensive and you have to like have your guard up and you have to be ready to hit counter punch back, or you're constantly feeling like there's a paranoia monkey on your shoulder and everything like that. And for some weird reason, my family and I kept moving to these conservative type of pockets all over the country, and so I was just constantly building up that chip and building up that shield. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, some people would argue that we need a new table, and we do need a new table. I don't, this whole separate but equal table. That, yeah, that's not flying. That's BS. I think we know that. It's like, okay, I'm all over the place. I am rambling, so I do apologize. Eventually, I think I'm going to bring it home and bring it together. So, This is why I love art and comics, because while I can't communicate as well right now to you what I'm trying to say, if I'm trying to say anything, at least with a piece of artwork and a piece of comic work, I can put it down there. I can have that inner monologue and then put it onto canvas or put it into the page, and you are free to pick it up and flip through it. You're free to walk by and stand and look at it, but my statement, whatever I was feeling at that point in time or trying to interpret, is there. And then I'm on to the next piece, then I'm on to the next canvas. And then eventually, there's a body of work that may not get a lot of notice, because I mean, I'm not really, considered popular or anything of that nature, by no means. In fact, that's part of the chip of the shoulder, often felt overlooked. But I'll air that grievance some other time through hard work. I don't mean the bootstrap kind of hard work, because let's be real. I think bootstraps went out of fashion a long time ago. So those of you that keep using bootstrap mentality theory need to stop. You don't even have bootstraps. You have Crocs. Shut up. Okay, moving on. Sorry, I'm not gonna get salty. Okay, but yeah. So taking my love of superheroes and four color panel sequences and primary colors. That's why you see a lot of primary color in my artwork. Is taking that and then being able to take that and funnel it through these complex concepts and applications of social, you know, issues and social taboos and things of that nature has been like, it's just been so much a part of my identity in the last 20 years, I would say. Even in high school, like when I wasn't creating superheroes or comics, I was doing work that had to say something. I had something to say. um, I got kicked out of the whole art department. They banned me from the whole art department in my high school, probably because I couldn't deal with issues that I was dealing with at home and things of that nature. And that is, I'm not alone in that, because a lot of us deal with that stuff, and we grow up with that scar tissue, and then we're still trying to navigate a world and a system that does not want you to succeed. Like the glass ceiling is real, and it's real for so many people and so many groups, and every time you think you shatter it, there's just another plane right there. It's like double plane, bulletproof almost. So you keep putting everyone in a box. What do you think's going to happen after a while? And then and then I mean, every now and then we're all in this glass box, and then you want to spray some Windex and wipe it. Then it gets wiped, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of clarity. But the clarity though is tragic, because guess what? Now that we can see outside that box, we see that oh, we're trapped. We're in a prison, and we see that what's on the other side of that glass, and we want through. We want to be free. We want to be able to. We want fresh air. And so going back to art, I feel like I'm about to finish my current career as a teacher here. I'll be done by next week, and then I'll be just kind of trying to figure out what's next for me, other than being working on my thesis. And but some oftentimes my students, it kills me when they say this. My parents say art doesn't matter, or art doesn't matter. We don't need art. The grade's not important. And I'm just like, oh, die a little bit inside. But I mean, but eventually, there's some of the same students eventually come around, and then they use this art for themselves, to their voice, or they have breakthroughs, and then I don't know, it feels so good to see them grow and all that, and to appreciate art eventually, because it's not so much as that I'm an art snob. I want them to appreciate art. I want them to understand that it's a that it can be their weapon. It could be their voice. It could be something that if they choose to do art and choose to use it, it can be another. We have five senses, so it could be a sixth sense. It could just be another vehicle for them to communicate and express themselves, or to deal with certain things, like how I use it. So I use art mostly for my pain. The one couple times when I was early younger, I went and like I did what's the antidepressant? Prozac. I got put on that for a little bit there, dealing with depression when I was in high school, and I didn't create. I didn't have any desire to create art or anything like that, because I was already level. I was already passive. I was already satisfied chemically, right? So I didn't create, and then so I stopped taking the medicine, because I wanted access to my creativity again, to be able to create and everything like that. And this went on for a couple of decades. I kept avoiding taking any type of antidepressants or anti-anxiety medicines because I didn't want my creativity to be cut off, you know. And it wasn't until finally when I was back working on my undergraduate degree and struggling so bad to keep it together to try and get through these classes that I kept failing classes and stuff like that. And I finally got diagnosed officially again with various different things. And I guess maybe like my pain finally outweighed what the chemical could do to me to keep me even. So now I take them because I feel like, um, there shouldn't be any shame in trying to get help and takes and I feel like taking the medicine and trying to get healthy and get clarity because I feel like I had a lot of work to accomplish and was better than self-medicating with alcohol, which I used to do quite often. I don't touch alcohol anymore. Um, I feel like I need all my senses, and although I do have an addiction to sugar again now, since stopped drinking beer years ago, I ended up having another donut addiction. So now I just eat. So when I'm depressed, I eat. So we got a double whammy here happening, and so I'm just getting bigger and bloated and eating my feelings, which means I probably need to start creating art and get back to painting because when I'm painting, I'm more physical. It's like I'm Rocky or you can cue that 8 Mile music, in my hood, just out there painting in the garage, and I paint very large because it's physical and it's aggressive, and that I can exert a lot of energy onto the canvas physically, not just metaphorically, and everything like that. So, congratulations, Elia. I see you. Congratulations on that. Um, yeah. So yeah. Walking doesn't work for me as I get hit by pollen and bugs. I got scars from mosquitoes. They like my blood for some reason. Maybe because it's a buffet of variety of color. I don't know. Yeah. I say I'm a lot. Sorry, but Obama says I'm a lot. So okay, I'm in good company. Yeah. Uh. So I'm rambling. I told you that would happen. What do I have to say about what's going on with right now? What do I say that I haven't already said that I won't continue to say through my work and through my I post a lot on Facebook. I spam Facebook. I share stuff, and people snooze me or unfollow me. That's fine. But it's just because at that point in time, it's like it builds up so much. I have to just get it out of my system and purge it real quick and just boom, and then be like, "Are you seeing this?" And everything like that. Um, so that's why I have that habitual tendency to spam things and all that. And I've lost like 2 to 4 years ago, I was on my Facebook feed fighting my childhood friends because of all the police brutality and all the killings and attacks, and they were telling me, and then you know how many times someone's told me that I'm not black because I don't look it to them because I look Mexican or something else like that. You know what it feels like for someone to tell you you're not something when you know in your blood and that it's like who are they to strip you of your identity, right? As it is, we're fighting for identity. We're all fighting for identity and for a voice in some fashion, which is why you see a lot of white scared people, because they can't fathom that they might lose their grip on something. Maybe it's their privilege, or maybe it's something else, but they're fearful that they're going to lose something if other colors or other or LGBTQ people and trans people get equal treatment. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're not going to lose something. Honestly, you're going to gain something. You're going to gain so much. You're going to gain so much. Like growing up in the 80s, like we were like young men and black men too, and have this like masculinity issues that we're bludgeoned to, and we're taught to be like homophobic, and so when you finally have an awakening, you start stripping away that callous that skin, and start realizing that it's not that you don't lose any masculinity by embracing LGBTQ people and people who have a different sexual preference orientation. So I know when those type of layers were stripped away from me, and a whole world opened up to where with my LGBTQ family, is having them and being an ally to them, just knowing that they're in the same boat as me as far as having to fight for equal treatment, as well as just, I mean, just being able to, that was a whole nother group of people I got to love and be friends with. So when there is an equal playing field, and when you do finally have equal access, you have equal experiences, you have equal opportunity. You really do have equal opportunity to meet and break bread with other people in other communities, and share customs and learn about other cultures. Like we like to eat each other's food, for the most part. I mean, my wife, she did put her on blast a little bit. Sorry, wife. Um, her seasoning was ketchup only for the longest time, and I'm like, this chicken is bland. I need some seasoning. But wow, she's awesome now, though, right? So I mean, like she cooks lumpia and things like that, Filipino dishes and all that. Though she's like, now it's like all the food tastes better when she makes it. I make fun. It's just she gets mad at me, but yeah, but so it does taste better now. So I mean, but my point is that we're willing to share each other's food. We're willing to share each other's music, for the most part. You're willing to wear the sneakers, to watch the games, to do this, do that. But I mean, when it comes to like education, when it comes to housing, when it comes to things that will just increase quality of life for everybody, people want to clutch onto segments of that. Where I live currently, like there's a predominantly, I would say it's more conservative, but there's a good group of people that are more progressive. But there's this conservative groups are worried about people coming in and renting property or living, and they treat them, they talk to them as if they're thugs. They say the words thugs or riffraff, or this used to be such a better place. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. So you're constantly, as a person of color, a black person, or even LGBTQ person, and my Latinx family and all that, and Asians, you're constantly going into these areas to improve quality of life for you and your family, but yet you're told, you're made to feel you're not wanted there. Like up you've you know you've upended the peaceful tranquility of what was there, what was, mostly white. And that's unfortunate because again, if there was a true call for equality and people, you would open up so many worlds, so many opportunities for yourself, for your brain, for your soul. I think your soul would be replenished if you actually allowed yourself to have some soul, within your community. Okay, so I guess I can move on. I don't know how much long I have on here because this is no, I just paid for the basic thing. Okay, so yeah, I have a little bit more time if I want to, but I know that people's attention spans are are limited. So hmm. What else can I say? Art comics. So art comics, I once had a girl that ended a date with me in 15 minutes because I talked about comics too much. So we had coffee and then she was like, "Yeah, I want to go." So sorry. But that's such a passion of mine because again, it's a vehicle for my advocacy is always about trying to get you to tell your story if you want to tell your story. When you say you can't draw a straight line, I'm like, yeah, guess what? I can't draw a straight line. Do you know how many rulers and templates I have, and I still can't get the line straight for the panel? Or trying to draw a circle. I've never been able to draw a complete perfect circle. That's never been me. I've never been able to be that meticulous or even do art. Yeah, I've been doing art. I'm a lifelong artist. And so my point is that those of you that build, that work in carpentry, that are engineers, those of you that are really good with numbers and can do programming and code, and then you create something like an automation or a game, or to me that's you still expressing yourself, that's still you doing art. So when someone tells me that they can't tell their story, I'm like, no, you can tell your story if you want to. It just might take you a little bit longer, or you might have to put more work into it. But I mean, I feel like you all deserve to tell your story if you so choose to want to share it with us. If you want to give us all that privilege of sharing your story with us. So that's why I'm such an advocate when it comes to art and comics, because comics aren't just about capes and tights. They're about expressing, a thought, or expressing your story, or telling your truth. They're about telling your truth. Okay. And I feel like that's what we need to talk about right now. That's what we need to get to, is the truth of the matter, of all matters. Um, you know, so of all matters. So constantly seeing all lives matter. If you don't know by now that when you say that back in response to somebody that says Black Lives Matter, or that's talking about hey, I want to live, I want to be treated equal, I don't want to worry about my health or worry about my future or my economic status. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be hunted. When they say Black Lives Matter, that's what they mean. And then for someone to respond, all lives matter, it means shut up, you. That's kind of how it comes back. So there are people that just feel like they can say that and then that's it, end of conversation. And what you're saying is that no, it's not the end of the conversation. It's just the beginning, you know. We're still in the beginning stages, 1960s, with MLK and all that, that was beginnings. We're still in the beginning stages. When you think of the length of history, um, to sit there and act as if racism is over or that was back then. Why are we talking about it now? In the longevity of history, this is still in the beginning. This is still very marginal. Okay, so that's why the conversation needs to continue. That's why we still have a lot of work to do. Okay, um, and so if you do not have the economic means, which I mean, how many of us do, right? And you're not healthy enough to go and be able to be out there to volunteer to march and all that though. I mean, and you still want to say something, you still want to stand up. Art is there for you. Your words, your poetry, your writing, your thoughts, just putting a line down, ballpoint pen, whatever. It's there for you. I mean, it's waiting. And there's plenty of us that love doing it that would love to help you if you need it. If you especially in a city like Columbus, although there is some gatekeeping segregation, which is weird. I moved to this city with a lot of idealism, and a lot of people warned me, "Hey, it's not like what you're thinking." And I'm like, "Well, I'll make it like what I'm thinking," and that's just because I'm stubborn and tenacious. But I get knocked down, and then I whine a little bit, and then I get back up because I don't know how to do anything else. This is the only thing I'm really good at is constantly exploring, experimenting with art and comics. So it's a one thing I'm good at. Um, so I will continue to keep creating, keep painting, keep drawing, and keep trying to communicate what is inside to the rest of you, and keep trying to have this conversation, through creativity. So I would definitely, I love seeing people create a piece of artwork that just makes a statement, and right now I'm in my angry phase and I'm my sick of it phase of creating art. I oftentimes don't sell a lot of artwork because people are like, it's too aggressive, it's too angry. Some lady even said it was demonic, and I was like, it's just my heavy hand. I don't have a light hand, I have a heavy hand. um and I'm just purging it out. So I think it's a healthy way, right, to get to exercise demons in painting and drawing. But I'll continue to do what I'm doing. I feel like I needed to make this video not because I had something substantial to say or something prolific. I felt like for my own selfishness and peace of mind, if I couldn't get this out, I couldn't move forward. I've been in bed a lot. I wake up to these horrors, and I go to bed to these horrors, this trauma. I dream about them. It's since 2016 and prior before 2016, but especially since 2016, it's there's not been any really long longevity of tranquility, or and you have to fight for hope every day, like for the ounces of hope, those little few minutes of hope and peace, or for optimism. I feel like I'm in a position where I feel like I have to fight for it every day, just to make sure my existence doesn't implode. So, um, yeah. With that being said, I think it's probably a good time to wrap. I've been talking for 30 minutes. Jesus, this is going to be a long video that people will probably scroll by, and that's fine. But it helped me get it out, so I feel like I can move on a little bit. I'm supposed to meet Bob Corby, you know. I'm supposed to meet Bob Corby today, sometime today, to pick up some canvases, so I can continue to create and see my vision. And Bob's awesome, who runs Space, and I'm helping him out with that and everything like that. I don't know if I'll make it to Bob's today. Sorry, Bob. Um, because there's a lot that I'm dealing with right here, and we're getting ready for our last official week of teaching as far as PD, and we have a lot. On a high note, this is gonna be a little bit tricky because I don't know how I'm gonna navigate Columbus with everything that's going on, but it's important that I do figure this out because I've got a lot of art supplies and some snacks and materials to get to these students of mine, to these kids, because even more so with everything going on, I mean, I want to give them that ability that if they have to stay inside, they're able to create and think about outside and just express themselves. So thank you to everyone that donated to the Donors Choose and campaigns. It was I know it's kind of like, again, art is easy to be dismissed, but thank you for doing that. So that way I can me and my wife can go ahead and get that stuff to the kids, so that way they can keep creating and creating comics, creating art, whatever it is they want to do, and all that though, so they can just have some color in their, have some more color in their lives, all that. Okay, I guess I'm done. I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Thank you.